Jesus said in Luke chapter 16 and verse 10, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. He that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much." Watch this, verse 11. "If therefore you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon," some translations say money, "who will commit to your trust the true riches? If you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own?" Hi, my name is Charles Vance. I'm along with Terry Sacka today on the wealth transfer. Terry, it's good to see you again today.
Hey, Charles, how are you?
So great. We got some great things to share on the program today, Terry.
Yes, you know, last week was very powerful with evidence and information for people to digest. I would suggest going to the website if you want to review that video again. I know there was a lot of charts and information. We moved pretty quick, and we'll continue to pick up that topic more in the future. But when you see the evidence, it helps you understand a little bit more so you can better be educated. The wealth transfer really, folks, is designed to give you information, biblical principles, so you can not only protect and preserve your family, but be prepared to make the right choices for what we're going to face here in the future and what's going on right now, to help you better understand what really is going on in our society, in our global economics, that you're not really being told. So
there's a lot of things going on that the national news agencies don't share with us. They kind of keep the general public hidden from those things. But there's a lot of things going on that we really need to know about if we're going to protect and preserve our financial future. It's our responsibility. Jesus said we've got to be faithful in not only that which is least, but we've got to be faithful in what's called unrighteous mammon. That's something that is trusted in other than trusting in God. So he said we've got to learn to trust or to be faithful with something like money. It's our responsibility. That word faithful just means to be trustworthy, that you're doing the right thing, the proper thing with it. And we want to talk a little bit more today, I think, about the currency wars that are going on internationally.
Yeah, and the reason we're going to do this, why it's important, because those currency wars we were talking about last week, it's really dramatically going to impact your retirement accounts, your 401ks, your IRAs. As we work year over year, this stuff is just stuff that we're kind of socking away for a long period of time, and we want it to be there 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Problem is, if you don't understand the dynamic of money and how the paper money is going down in value versus everything else, you're going to find that what you're saving is going to lose tremendous value. And just to give you an idea, in the last 10 years, the dollar has lost 40% of its value. 40. Which means you're paying $4 for gas, not $1. Where at the same time, of course, silver's gone up 700%. So you just have to know how to diversify yourself in your asset base and be spread out in a way that protects you, especially for the IRAs and 401ks. And so we're going to talk about that today, Charles. We're going to spend some time kind of spelling out details about IRAs and 401ks. A lot of people don't know how to do it. And so what we want to do is we want to give you some questions and answers. Now, I will propose the technicals, and then Charles can answer questions, and maybe we can make it so it's a little more understanding.
I maybe want to ask questions, and you give us the answers.
We could do that too. No kidding, we can do that too.
Here, this is interesting.
No, if you want to say that, if you're going to say that, this, folks, is why it's so important and absolutely imperative that you understand protecting and preserving your 401k, your IRA, for this reason alone.
Let me ask you this before I read this. If someone has an IRA or a 401k, or some kind of a retirement account, you know, all they've got is a piece of paper.
Yes.
What's that piece of paper represent?
Only whatever it's in, stock market, bonds, whatever.
So you're saying they could be anywhere?
They could be anywhere. They could be in the stock market, bond market, maybe even some real estate trusts, depends. But the 401k typically is in mutual funds in your company. Those are the toughest ones.
Which is what? Just simply stocks?
Stocks, yeah, it's all stocks. And that's why so many people lost so much in their retirement accounts during the crash in 08. And most people have barely broken even, or they're at break even right now. So they lost all that money. They're barely breaking back even, but they're really not, because the dollar's lost so much value.
And it looks like the stock market has gone shot way up real
Right.
high again, like a
Right.
like a historical high. But actually, because of the losses that they had, if somebody had money in some sort of a retirement account that was in the stock market,
Yes.
when that crashed,
Almost all of them are.
yeah, that all of that, I've actually had people tell me they lost everything.
You know what's sad? Here's what's sad about that. They're in the stock market, but what happens is when the stock market starts to crash like that, people sell, but they usually sell too late. Now, I worked with A.G. Edwards, and they know this cycle. People get out too late and they get in too late. But the traders and the bankers always time it right. They just do. But what happens is the markets were crashing and people got out more towards the bottom. Then they were panicked because they lost a lot of money. And then when it hit the bottom and stopped, they didn't get back in because they were like, oh my gosh, it's going to go lower, or they couldn't take risks because they just lost a lot of money and they were just heartbroken. And so they're done. They're sidelined and they're in cash. Then the market turns around and starts going back up. Problem is, most people didn't get back in until halfway up. And so if they're lucky, they're at break even. I talk to a lot of people. They're barely at break even, or sometimes 10, 20, 30%.
Now,
maybe.
we say break even back when it crashed.
Right. So they're break even from, a lot of them even break even from 10 years ago.
So the inflation that has been in our economy
Is not
since
calculated
then
in
has
that.
devalued. I mean, it says the same amount of dollar.
Yes.
But the dollar is actually worth less in buying power.
Yes, Charles, that is so important because it says, that is really good. That's a good point. It says it's the same amount of dollar value. I had 250,000. Well, I still got 250,000.
Right.
No, you don't. Because inflation has eaten it
maybe
away.
have $250,000 if you go to the bank and cash it all in.
But it's not buying you.
But it doesn't buy you $250,000 worth of product that it did 10 years ago.
That is such a great intro to this, and this is it. I love it because that is really big. When
Here's
you
the
found
example of this, because I found this.
Yeah, Charles found this one, folks. So
you're in Central Florida. I'm in West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the most poverty-stricken states per capita in the Union. Florida took a hard hit when the real estate thing busted just a few years ago. But this is national statistics, supposedly.
Oh no, definitely national. That's amazing stuff. Now this is the last 10 years. Folks,
last 10 years, razor blades are up 80%. Now we sat around and talked about this. Eggs are up 70%. Coffee, 160%. That means what used to cost you $1 10 years ago has cost you $1.60 now, almost double. Gasoline, 131%. I don't think that's even fair, because that's not even, that can't be right.
That can't be, because actually gasoline went from $1 to $4. When they took that, that's when it had corrected. But went to $1 to $4, it's actually 300% gasoline.
Gold, 457%.
And you know what's interesting about all that? All those folks are prices going up on the goods and services that you need to survive. Your food, your gas, energy.
Well, yeah, this is product. This is stuff that you dig out of the earth.
Razor blades, eggs, coffee,
metal,
gasoline,
food, stuff you run your car with.
Now, look, what's interesting, I know you mentioned this, and I love that. There's this almost like this global, and I know why. I'll tell you folks why. They didn't mention in that list that Charles found, they didn't mention silver.
And I went and hunted for it.
Yeah.
Because I knew silver had gone up tremendously.
But how much did silver go up in the same time?
The percentage I found was 708% in 10 years.
Now, do you know why they're not telling you those numbers? They never talk about silver, folks. It was the biggest increase in value in wealth transfer than any other thing out there in hard asset. Now, they're not telling you why. Silver is used in everything we put our hands on, almost. Computers, televisions, medical technology, water purification systems, solar systems. Silver is tremendous. Why? Because silver takes heat at a level without compromise or crack, unlike any metal out there. And the problem is we've been using silver in televisions and these things for so long, we never recycled it. And so the silver supplies, if you go on our website, you'll see under our silver page, there's tremendous information on graphs and what's going on globally for inventories and all of that. Silver inventories have plummeted. We used to have 2 billion ounces of silver above ground. Now we have barely 300 million. It's depleting quickly. And the problem is the demand for silver is increasing 40% in the next 5 years, but yet we're pulling less silver out of the ground.
It's because of the industry use of it.
Industry use, let alone money. That's why I'm saying if you're going to have a hard asset money, silver is by far a better asset than like gold, because silver is needed. You can always sell silver because they use it. They need it for computers. They need it for purification systems, all the green technology, everything coming out is all silver.
I was actually watching a television program the other day, and it was interesting. A guy was buying something from someone, and I'd never seen anybody do this on a television program before, but he said, I've got a lot of scrap silver. He said, would you be interested in trading some? And the guy said, well, yeah, because he was a businessman. He said, yeah, I'd trade you. So this guy goes in and gets his big bucket of silver that he has, which is not like this. This is not
tin.
silver. This is
a token.
This is 2010. This is a 50-cent piece which has no silver in it. This one is 60 or 70 something.
No silver.
Has maybe is
copper.
Is not even
no
plated.
Silver.
Just got nickel on the front of it.
Yep.
So it has none in it. But this is a real silver piece.
Yes.
And what was it? 63 and older had the
64,
solid silver?
1964 and older had 90% silver in them.
Well, that's what he had. He had that scrap silver, and he actually came out and went through the silver and counted it out because he knew what the businessman knew what the value of the silver was per ounce.
Right.
And they actually traded silver for the product. I think the guy's buying a trailer, and he actually bought the trailer.
Well, because
with
he
silver.
didn't need it. And the thing is, silver's not just money. It's used, like we said, in all these technologies and all these systems of business. They need silver.
And you know what's going to happen if the trend continues in 10 years? If this does the same thing it did in the last 10 years, this is going to be worth 7 times. The trailer is going to be a pile of rust that the guy bought with the silver. This is going to be worth 10 times if the guy hangs on to it.
Well, I think that's why, if we're going to talk about IRAs and 401ks today and then get into some of those details, I think that's why it's good to know that you can roll over your IRA or 401k into a product like silver and store it for the long term. And that's really important because silver, it not only just is a money value, does have industrial applications, so there's always a demand for silver. Matter of fact, demand's increasing. So if you're going to store your IRA money into something, it's best to store it into something that the value is going to be going up and demand is going to be going up, because in the long term, as silver prices rise, the dollar falls, you're going to have a better standard of living. And so it's important to understand as we get into these 401k IRA details and what Charles told you about those prices on those foods. That's why your IRA better be in a place that will go up in value with a hard asset, because prices as you retire, talk to any retired person, as you retire, you have a fixed income, and as prices rise on foods, goods, and services, but your money's not growing and prices are going up, you're gonna regret not having a counter asset to protect you in.
Terry, this is interesting to me because I've actually had people ask me, so what do you do with that silver if you buy it? Well, you can sell it and buy dollars with it again if you want to use it to buy goods.
Oh, well, good point, yeah. Right.
Because people ask me, they say, what do you do with it? You got silver, who's going to buy the silver? Well, you can sell it for
Everybody
dollars.
will buy it. When I had a lawyer ask me that question about someone, well, what are you going to do if you have the silver in your house? Now, these are for non-IRAs. What do you do if you have the silver? Jewelers, refiners, pawn shops, dealers. I mean, there are so many people who will buy, dentists. So many people who buy silver. Now, the silver is in such high demand, selling it is never an issue whatsoever.
And this is what I just noticed on this chart, and I just hand wrote this thing, I just pulled this information off the internet. Eggs up 70% in the last 10 years. Silver's up over 700%. So I could buy, if I had the same amount of silver, I could buy 10 times the amount of eggs that I bought 10 years ago with the silver. If I've got money to store somewhere, if I've got money to save somewhere, I need to save it in something tangible.
What you just said
is going to increase in value.
Charles, that is a great analogy. If you had the silver, if your retirement was stored in silver, during this period it went up 700%. You're buying 7 times, or more than that, 10 times more eggs. You're buying more eggs, more bread, more gas. Whatever you're buying, you're going to be buying a lot more of it. Now the question is, oh, well, that was great for then. Why is it? How do I know it's going to go up in the future? It's a supply demand. It has to go up,
Well,
and from the context of supply demand and the money debasement.
And it's the money debasement.
Printing money is
it's
what's
printing
doing it.
money.
Yes.
And again, I really don't think people comprehend that. But if you just keep printing this, and there's nothing in store that makes this have more value just because they print more, it'd be one thing if you were. And of course, this would be against the law for us to do this anyway, to print money.
Who'd want to print that anyway?
Yeah, well,
they'd rather have the silver dollar.
yeah, only if you could exchange it for something.
Right.
But if you were printing IOUs and you had the money to pay me back, and you printed me one IOU and said, you know, I've got it here, I've got it in my safe, I can pay you back, and here's the promissory note that I'll pay you back. Well, if you print 4 of these and give them to 4 people and say, I've got the money in the safe to pay you back, that's all well and good unless somebody comes and makes a demand on the note. And the problem that the United States government and the Federal Reserve banking system has made is there's nothing in reserve now.
No,
and
it's
the
a negative.
more of this that they print, the less value that it has, which makes this, and I don't think people understand, that's why I keep trying to say this, it makes a tangible asset like eggs or silver or gold or gasoline appear to be going up because it is going up relevant to the dollar.
Yes.
But it's actually stable because it's worth the same amount of, to me, it'll purchase the same amount of goods, but this keeps going down, which means I've got to have more of these to buy the same thing with.
Yes.
And that's what creates danger for people in their future. That's why I've heard people say, I bought silver 15, 20 years ago, got a stockpile of silver, and I'm a millionaire now.
Yeah,
or I've
and
got
silver
a lot
goes
of
up
money
and
now.
down. I mean, of course, the value goes down,
Sure it
but
does.
it's only because the silver prices are controlled by a market system that's not going to control it in the future. Silver, when it gets to a real physical price discovery, is when you're going to see the prices go up a lot more. Right now, there is manipulation in the silver market to some degree, and yet the prices are still up 700%. So they go up, they go down. It's not the point. This is not something you just do for a short period of time. This is an asset like a piece of land that you buy for a longer period. And in IRAs and 401ks, these are longer term holdings that you'd want a hard asset in. And so,
Not like day trading.
No. That's the point. Get out of the stock market day trading.
Yeah.
Don't be buying stuff in the market. I'll just buy an ETF in the stock market. That's not what we're talking about. You don't buy land in the stock market in that way. And you can, but that's not the point. You want to stand on the land. So as we get into this, I just want to let you know if you have an IRA or a 401k, assets to protect and preserve. If you would like information, just log into our website here on the screen or call the 800 number. We will send you free information that's filled and loaded with graphs and technical data that'll give you an education so you can better make a decision on what you need to do for diversifying your assets. Because remember, folks, the United States government is printing $85 billion every month in regards to this currency war that we're in, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. And so this is a medium to long-term extreme inflation protection, and it's something that is very valuable. So let's do some answering and questions because I know 401ks and IRAs people have some questions about. And
Yeah, the majority of people, and I mean, even if they've got an IRA or a 401, they really don't know what they've got.
yeah, and let me just put it this way, and let's do 401ks first because a 401k is simple. As long as you're employed at the 401k, the odds are you can't do anything with it. If you have a 401k and you're called fully vested, meaning you've been in it 5, 7, 8 years, there's a good chance you own it at that point. And once you own it, you can roll that 401k over into an IRA, and it would only cost you literally, I think, the couple $100 or whatever it is, the fee to roll it over. And then once you're in a precious metals IRA, you could then purchase whatever you choose, physical metal-wise, like silver, and store it there. If you're not fully vested in a 401k and you're still working, unfortunately, you're at the mercy of whatever they tell you.
Oh, the company does the
Yes,
investing.
and
Okay.
because a lot of times the companies match dollar for
Okay.
dollar what you put in,
Gotcha.
then they also tell you what you can invest in. So it's a little unfortunate
Now,
there.
if you're fully vested and you have the right to do what you want to do with it, if people purchase silver or gold with it or put it in a...
You would have to roll it over,
okay.
which is very simple paperwork, by the way, and then the custodian, it's not us, I mean, we can assist with information, but I'm just merely trying to tell you, that's why I think, you know, if you come in for the information-wise, we can assist there. But there's an actual custodian. This is all, you know, government-driven as far as your IRAs and 401ks, because it's retirement accounts. And these custodians store those precious metal assets in a vault for you.
Now,
and you receive statements and so forth like you do now.
It's not government owned. That
No, they're not
vault.
government owned, but retirement accounts fall under the government because they're waiting to get their taxes out of it. That's why.
So they're keeping an eye on it. The
Absolutely.
government makes sure that this third-party vault is not taking some out and sending you every
No,
week.
yeah, see, the thing is, these custodians, there's only a handful of them are really solid custodians, and the ones that we're familiar with and have relationships with are wonderful, wonderful Christian people. They have over 33,000 IRA accounts, so they're a tremendous company. But they're designed to protect the silver or gold or whatever metal you choose in the vault. They give you the statements, and they're under rules, regulations, and guidelines of the government. I mean, they're regulated by the government for that purpose. Because remember, the government wants their taxes when you take money out of your IRA and 401ks.
Terry, some people would ask the question, well, if they're under such scrutiny by the government, can the government actually come in and seize my gold and silver?
You know, honestly, a lot of people say that, but you know what, Charles? We're in so much more debt, folks. You could take all the gold and silver in our country away from the people, and it won't even put a small dent in our debt. We're at like 17 trillion. There's barely, you know, 1.5 trillion, not even, of gold and silver in this country, not even. So, I mean, it's not even close what is out there compared to what it'll do. So they're not going to do them any good.
They're watching it for tax purposes.
They're watching it for taxes, just like anything else. And hey, you know, pay Caesar's at Caesar's, you know. But it at least it'll go up in value or be something that'll be a hard asset. And I don't say, because there is no guarantee on anything. I'm just merely saying that it's a hard asset. And in lieu of what we're seeing in the world of printing money by the world banks, it's a good idea to be protected and diversified. And I would say don't put everything you have in one thing of any kind. Be diversified. But to be properly diversified into a hard asset has always been a good idea, because if you have been all along, you'd be a millionaire today. So.
And that diversity also should include, we've talked about this on programs past. You know, you say, and I'd never heard anybody say this before, but it was very interesting. You said gold and silver is God's money.
It's God's money, yes.
And Haggai 2:8 says, for all the silver is mine, all the gold is mine, saith the Lord. But God gave us, when he created mankind, Genesis chapter 1, he gave man dominion over everything he created. Psalm chapter 8, the same thing is reiterated, that everything God created. This is not what God created. God didn't create paper. This is called fiat money.
That's systems of the world, not systems of the spirit.
And people that are in the know, that are in the financial system, call this fiat money, which is just simply means fake money, is all that it means, which is interesting because the majority of the general public has never heard that term before. It's F-I-A-T is the way you spell it. You can look it up. It just means fake. And this is just fiat.
Well, we're not used to that because it used to be grains of silver and gold. That was why.
This bill actually is a silver certificate.
Right.
And it says that you have to pay the bearer on demand in silver.
That's right.
Now, they pulled this out of circulation.
But it's no longer in 67. Okay. They're no longer worth silver or gold. And
this one was a gold certificate. And these are no longer redeemable.
And if people, when that ended, if people would have instead of put their retirement money, we're saying this because all of your hard-earned savings in retirement is in paper. If when they came out, gold and silver came out of this paper, and people would have went into physical asset, they'd be millionaires today. And it's not going to change going forward because of the currency war, the cycle east to west, all the money printing, all the welfare money that we're spending. It's unbelievable, folks. We got to get to the IRAs real quick because there are some specific questions people have before the program ends here. But in an IRA, if your money is in an IRAs are very broad. So you could be invested in annuities, stocks, bonds, all sorts of things in an IRA. That IRA can always be in cash or anything you want. You can just roll over your IRA into a very specific designated physical IRA that is designed to store physical, what we would call ISO 9000 silver, if you were to do silver, which means it's been inspected and it's at the highest level of quality, and it's stored in a vault with a custodian to protect it for retirement. And then upon distributions, just sell some of the silver off. They calculate it for the taxes, and you get the money shipped home to you. So it's something done very seamlessly. It's just some paperwork that you have to fill out to transfer whatever you choose to of the IRA you have now over to the precious metals IRA.
And you can actually, whatever you cash that in, you can actually, if you want to cash it in, you can sell it and bring home rolls of silver.
Well, sure, yeah. If you cash out your IRA like you do
silver.
cash now, you can just cash it out and actually take the silver home instead of the money.
Right.
But they will attach a value to the silver, that's all. So silver can be stored just as anything else is in your IRA. Just like, like I said, your bonds or your stocks, but you could store it in physical metal. And any IRA qualifies for this. Most people just don't know you can do it, and it's very easy to do. That's basically, I think, where we come in. For those that do want to look into transferring an IRA or a 401k over into a precious metals IRA, and you have assets to protect like that, we will send a package to you for free. Just log into the website or give us a call, and we'll go ahead and send some information out so you can be educated on how to diversify yourself. And we're here to answer questions. There's a lot of little intricacies, but we have very thorough, kind, and just God-loving people that will assist you in the details and make it very seamless and hassle-free.
There's no, your company obviously deals in silver, gold, precious metals.
Yes.
There's no obligation if people call or log onto your website.
No, not at all. No obligation for the information. And if you roll over your IRA, it's not with us in that sense. I mean, now we supply the physical metal to people, yes, but no, in the IRAs it's different. That is a private custodian. So we will just assist you and help you get through the process and make sure that you have all of the paperwork lined up and have the quality of the metal. But it's a very simple and seamless process. Even the cost, I think they just take it out of the IRA itself. So it's very easy to do and very hassle-free. But it's important to know because you put on the number of chart 11 real quick. We don't have much time, but put this chart 11 on. Chart 11, that's chart 10, I'm sorry. Although that's really big too. There you go, folks. That's why this is important. You need to protect your IRAs. You see that velocity of money straight up, extreme abuse of money printing going on right now by our government. Get protected, preserve your wealth and your savings, get information, and we'll help answer the intricacies of the details of how to do this. This is the Wealth Transfer Program. Next week, we're going to get into deflation, inflation, hyperinflation, the differences, and show you real information on how to navigate through it.
Remember, God has required us. Jesus said that we've got to be good stewards or good managers, to be found trustworthy over what He called unrighteous mammon, or the money, the access to physical money that we have. Just make sure that you join us next time right here on the Wealth Transfer.